नमस्कार। राष्ट्रिय परीक्षा बोर्ड र नेपाल टेलिभिजनको संयुक्त प्रस्तुति कार्यक्रम परीक्षा सवालमा यहाँहरूलाई हार्दिक स्वागत छ। दर्शकवृन्द, हामी यो कार्यक्रममा राष्ट्रिय परीक्षा बोर्डले गर्दै आएका विभिन्न गतिविधिका बारेमा कुराकानी गर्ने गर्दछौँ। गत श्रृङ्खलामा हामीले कक्षा 12 को अनिवार्य अंग्रेजी विषयको आइटम राइटिङ कसरी गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने विषयमा सैद्धान्तिक जानकारी यहाँहरू समक्ष राख्यौँ। आजको श्रृङ्खलामा भने हामी अनिवार्य अंग्रेजी विषयको आइटम राइटिङ गर्दा व्यवहारिक ज्ञान के हुन सक्दछ यो विषयमा केन्द्रित हुनेछौँ।
Welcome to the practical session of designing higher order thinking items of grade 12 English. I have given a simple text here, unseen text, and from the text I have designed a few higher order thinking questions. So, let us look at the text first. I have been an actor for 30 years since I was 10, and 4 years ago I started a theatre school. It is open every Saturday and Sunday, and I help there when I am not in a play. I got the idea for the school at a party. I was talking to a few friends who said how difficult it is for young people who want to be actors. I did study in a theatre school, but it didn't matter because I learned by working in different theatres. But now, because a lot of these have closed, not many young people can do this. My school is open to anyone of any age who wants to act. You don't have to be the world's best actor or singer, and at the moment we have students from 8 years old to 26. Our teachers are actors themselves. I can't pay them anything, but they come because they like being with the students and helping them. My 12-year-old daughter, who sings beautifully, goes to the school. Last month she wanted to be an actor, but now she says she wants to be a police officer. So, let us look at the questions. Number A. When does the writer go to the theatre school? Every Saturday and Sunday. So, every Saturday and Sunday, these 4 words are directly taken from the text. So, which is called recalling or remembering. So, this falls into knowledge level question. Number B. Who made the writer decide to start a theatre school? A few friends. If you look at the text, it is not exactly said by the writer there, but on reading the text, you can understand that a few friends made the writer decide, or they gave him the advice. So, this falls into a comprehension level question. C. What is the problem today for young actors? A lot of these have closed. These means theatre schools. So, here student has to think a little bit. Sometimes you can categorize this as the student used his past knowledge. So, it is somehow application, but again it falls on under comprehension level. Number D. Would you join the theatre school if you were the writer? Why? Why not? Give reasons. So, the answer will be Yes, because many young people have joined the school and I'm keen on acting and so on, the other answers. So, here would you join the theatre school? Means the student thinks himself and writes his own personal interest. So, this falls into application level or somehow you can even put this in analysis level as well. Number E, what does the word this in line 6 refer to? What does the writer mean to say when he said not many young people can do this? The answer will be go to the theatre, join the theatre school, learn to act. This is not given in the text. The student has to read the text, think for a moment, analyze the situation and write the answer. So, this falls into two categories you can put again, application and analysis level. What can you infer from the text? Or maybe another question, what can you conclude from the text? The student has to think to answer. So, this question falls into analysis or still synthesis, because the student has to think something and decide to write something, and or maybe it falls into evaluation as well. Still I have given another question, give the text a suitable title. So, unless the student reads the whole text, then the student cannot give the title. So, this falls under comprehension section. Another question could be, is acting an easy or difficult job? Give reasons to support your view based on the text. So, this question falls into again analysis or evaluation. How do you feel about the theatre school? The student has to think and give the answer. So, again it falls under analysis or synthesis section. Now, let us talk about the text from the book I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King. So, I am pretty sure you know the text very well. However, I will read it once. I have a dream. 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of captivity. But 100 years later, we must face the tragic fact that the Negro is still not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languishing in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. So, we have come here today to dramatize an appalling condition. In a sense, we have come to our nation's capital to cash a check when the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. They were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men would be guaranteed the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, as I said earlier in our last session, you can design the new type of questions, new type of items that carry 1 point for 1 mark, 1 point for 1 item. So, I have designed one vocabulary item as prescribed in the curriculum as well. Match the descriptions in column A with the words that have similar meanings in column B. So, this is when you ask this, because you have already taught these words in the classroom, they will not be regarded as higher ability questions. But if the text is new, absolutely unseen situation, then they fall into the higher ability questions. So, if you look at the words, when you design matching items, first you start writing the description, and then in column B you write the words as given in the screen. Then again you can also do a fill in the blanks question. Fill in the blanks with correct information from the text. A great American in the text refers to blank. When you are writing the fill in the blank items, remember, as far as possible, do not give a choice. Leave the blank always at the end, as you can see in the screen. A great American in the text refers to, so Abraham Lincoln. When you teach the text, because this is a syntax and you have already taught this in the classroom, this is like knowledge or comprehension question. But when the same text is an unseen text, the students have to find out, have to look at other details and remember the answer. So, and that belongs to the higher ability in that case. So, joyous break is an example of the answer is not clearly given in the book, in the text. The students have to think again. So, it falls into higher ability. It is an imagery. The tragic fact is, you imagine which level question is this? Yes, you are right. This is a knowledge level question, because the tragic fact is directly taken from the text. Negroes are not free. 100 years later is an example of. This is a higher ability question. But remember, if you teach your students the words like anaphora in the classroom, then this won't be a higher ability question. This will fall into comprehension, because they have already been familiar with that. But in a new situation, 100 years later, in the second this has been repeated 4 times. So, this is an example of anaphora. Every American is entitled to what? I am pretty sure you have guessed now. This is a comprehension level question. Everyone requires freedom there. Now, let us look at the questions. Answer the following questions. I suggest you again to write the questions like this. Instead of asking 15 marks short answer question, my suggestion is to develop 3 different items, each carrying 1 marks, so that there will be consistency in marking. And I am telling you this because the curriculum does not restrict you to ask only 5 questions, each carrying 3 marks. So, we can make changes here. Now, let us look at the questions. Number A. Why does king use 5 score years ago instead of just saying 100 years ago? Why does Martin Luther King say 5 score years ago instead of just saying 100 years ago? Because you have already taught your students this. 5 score years ago is 100 years ago, and I am pretty sure you have already told your students the reference, whose reference he is taking. This is an example of allusion. Martin Luther King borrowed Abraham Lincoln's person. So, because you have already told your students means this is not an inferential question for your student. This will be a comprehension question, but if it is a new situation, then this is inferential question. It is not given there. There are some examples of allusion, and I am sure you have discussed this in your classroom as well. So, instead of knowing like say in language application or like synthesis or what you call comprehension or creation, you can understand this using the 4 different levels of comprehension, like inferential, literal, evaluative, kind of opinion, and applied. So, if you look at number A, definitely this is an inferential question. The student cannot easily answer this question. He needs to have some background knowledge or background reading. It's not clearly stated in the text. Let's look at question B. What does the phrase momentous decree refer to? This momentous decree is clearly given in the text, and the text gives this momentous decree. If you look at the text, I will show you. This momentous decree came. So, this momentous decree means what? The Emancipation Proclamation. The student can easily relate these two phrases and they can answer this. They do not need to think more to answer this question. So, this falls under literal question. Literal question means knowledge or comprehension level questions. So, next question, what can we conclude from the text? What can we conclude? So, conclude brings a kind of judgment, a kind of decision. So, this is evaluative or higher order. What would be your reaction? Look at number D. What would be your reaction to the situation portrayed in the text if you were a Negro? You have to give your opinion to answer this question. So, this means the answer is not clearly given in the text. Number E. What do you think about the tone of the text, or what is the purpose of the text or this speech? This is again a higher level thinking question, and I call it applied. So, we are nearly at the end of our session. My final remarks will be, if you look at the book Heritage of Words, look carefully at the style and rhetoric section in the exercise. All these questions require critical thinking. All these questions require higher higher ability thinking skills, higher order thinking skills. And so, when you design the questions, please use your logic like inference, literal, evaluative, opinion, applied. Whether it is in a literature or in an on-scene reading text, you can do that yourself. I hope this helps you a lot. Thank you so much.
हवस् त, कार्यक्रमको समय आजका लागि यति नै। यो कार्यक्रम यहाँहरूले नेपाल टेलिभिजनको वेबसाइट, युट्युब च्यानल र मोबाइल एपमा पनि हेर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। यो कार्यक्रम हरेक महिनाको दोस्रो र चौथो शुक्रबार साँझ 6 बजे प्रसारण हुने गर्दछ। अर्को श्रृङ्खलामा हामी यस्तै समय सान्दर्भिक विषयवस्तु लिएर फेरि पनि उपस्थित हुने नै छौँ। त्यतिन्जेल तपाईहरू नेपाल टेलिभिजन हेर्दै गर्नुहोला। नमस्कार। छ।